Erling Haaland has obviously had a huge impact on coming to the Premier League and his ability to score. I saw him on the Logan Paul podcast a little while ago, talking about some breathing stuff that he does and stuff that he does in his kind of recovery routine after games, and thought it was quite interesting. And then I saw this video on his YouTube channel, and it's a good behind the scenes look at the training he's doing at this elite level. And so I thought it was quite interesting to have a look at.
Going in the hypoxic chamber, 40 degrees in there, 3,500 meters above sea level, so I need to have this on for a bit better breathing.
The use of a nasal strip here is quite interesting. It's not obviously necessary, but some people have deviations in their septum, the middle part of their nose, which means that when they're breathing in, one nostril will suck in a little bit harder, so that you can't get the air flow as efficiently. Nasal strips just open that up and open those airways in the nasal cavity, so you can breathe more optimally through your nose.
Let's go to the hypoxic chamber. Hyperbaric is more oxygen, hypoxic is less oxygen.
I was using a hypoxic chamber, which is obviously great for someone that is in a sport, especially in a team like Man City, who has the funds to have this kind of chamber at your beck and call. This obviously isn't for everyone. Now, you can get these similar benefits to using a hypoxic chamber without having one. There's different coaching methods and techniques that you can do to achieve the same results without spending £50,000 on a hypoxic chamber. But the purpose of the hypoxic chamber and what he's doing here is he's stimulating red blood cells production. So we're talking about the EPO production, not the illegal doping kind, but the natural generated kind that you have from your body that helps you increase that red blood cell count so you can carry more oxygen, which then improves your oxygen delivery, improves your aerobic capacity, improves that tolerance to CO2. All these things are coming from this hypoxic chamber training. So it's a very good training method to have. If you have access to a chamber, awesome. Most of us don't have that access or that level of money, but there are other things we can do.
Ready? Let's have it. We're going a bit on the bike and sweating a little bit. We need to get the pulse up to 150.
Trying to increase your heart rate here, like Erling Haaland's trying to do, is an interesting thing. That this is the debate between zone 2 and maxing out your heart rate. Both modalities have value to you as an athlete. Often I think zone 2 is much more overlooked, and zone 2 is never true zone 2. It's always done either too easy, or the easy stuff's done too easy, should I say, or the hard stuff's done too hard. But in this case, he's trying to go hard. He's trying to max that heart rate out so he can expand that ceiling in terms of his aerobic capacity, improve that VO2 max, and just have overall better cardiac output for a player that is explosive and as he is.
Erling, can you tell me what the benefits of training at altitude and heat are?
Yes, I can. So this is training in altitude and heat and humidity, which is obviously a challenge. I struggle more in here. Go out on the pitch, I can run even more. This helps me recover faster between sprints, and that's a good thing because I sprint a lot.
The benefit to doing training at altitude above sea level is things like it increases the hemoglobin mass, so the amount of red blood cells, the carrying capacity. It improves your mitochondrial efficiency, the mitochondria being the powerhouse of the cell. You always remember that from biology at school. It helps the mitochondria to be more efficient because it helps it to deliver and produce ATP a lot more efficiently. It enhances that buffering capacity. Buffering capacity is something I speak about a lot, and how breathing really affects that. The buffering capacity, so how to move lactate build up in and out of the muscles. Obviously some is needed, but once that peaks, that's where you get the stiff legs, the jelly legs, the heavy leg feeling. So you want to be able to move that in and out, and having that buffering capacity, improving that buffering capacity with training at altitude is obviously optimal to help you perform at your best. Thus leads into lactate threshold and how to improve that lactate threshold. Again, this is training at altitude, but you can achieve this without using chambers and such like.
Now I can't speak anything.
When I was young, I didn't care anything about recovery. I didn't know what it was. The biggest thing I learned from recovery since I turned professional is how important it is, you know, the small things, you need to do them. You really need to do them. And
often I think as young athletes or as just young people in general, we overlook our recoveries, our breathing, that even leads to when we're older. Because when you're younger, you can tolerate a higher workload, you can tolerate a higher stress amount in terms of exercise and training and stuff like that. You obviously are higher, especially when you're younger, in your hormone levels, and those allow you to recover quicker, and also put on mass and put on stamina and increase stamina a lot more efficiently when you're younger. That tapers off when you come towards your 30s. So obviously you overlook this when you're a young athlete because you can recover faster, because you can get more positive outcomes from training sessions. You overlook a lot of things, and view a lot of things such as breathing as an automatic system that is just there and just works. But automatic doesn't mean optimal, and often we see that as an athlete can start to age because they haven't implemented things like breath training early on in their training and their sports careers. This leads to dysfunction of things like the nervous system, dysfunctional breathing. Dysfunctional breathing is in about 90% of athletes, from grassroots all the way to elite, because it's not trained. And then this leads to later things like burnout, or training and being fit, but for some reason that fitness isn't always translating, and it's frustrating, it's confusing as to why, but that's because the engine's not broken. It's just that the ability to efficiently breathe and get that recovery system kicking in between plays, between actions, isn't there.
you need to find what's right for you, because everyone is different. I'm different from Bernardo Silva to Ruben Diaz. We need different kind of things, but I think moving, that's what you should do. Go.
Everyone's biology is different and you have to approach it differently. So yes, everyone is different in the way they do this. This could be the ISA angle of the rib cage. This changes the modalities and the things we need to do when it comes to training and strength and conditioning, but also how we approach programming your breathing, as well as anterior, posterior, pelvic tilts, how dominant you are on one side or the other side of your diaphragm. All these things factor in, and this is why coaches such as myself and stuff use an AI system that can have a look at this, analyze it, and then we can program thereafter so that we get good assessments to get good results.
Our maximum heart rate has been 141, which is already good, but we need 150.
Again, here you hear him say he's got 141 beats per minute heart rate, and he wants to get it up to 150. This is purely just the athletic mindset of wanting to improve and push that ceiling in terms of lactate threshold, in terms of making sure you're not under training aerobically, and that you can perform at your best during a game. So this is just that athlete mindset kicking in, which I think is super interesting.
So let's go. Do I want to do this? No, I don't. Will I do it? Yeah. Am I doing it? Yeah. Because why not?
Here I think he's talking about something that I've heard Ross Edgley talk about, is healthy hardship. You don't want to train like this. You don't want to get up, push yourself hard, sweat it out every day. You don't want that cold exposure, those breath holds, that going easy when it feels too easy, that hypoxic intervals. This is all stuff that's uncomfortable, stressful, acute stress to induce some good training outcomes, but it's uncomfortable. And it's that healthy hardship of doing something that is hard work, uncomfortable, but ultimately makes you healthier and perform better thereafter. It's tough, but that's that mindset you have to have of that healthy hardship.
I'm tired, but then I tell my body I'm not tired. And then I think it's a psychological thing that telling yourself, okay, I'm not so tired. It's okay, we keep going.
The mental state of breathing is something we've probably been exposed to a little bit more, and that we are a bit more aware of, that having breathing programs, breathing techniques improves our mental health and our stress management. This is because breathing directly links to an automatic system of the nervous system, and the vagal nerve, the vagal tone improves, CO2 tolerance improves, you reduce that overactivity in the brain so you can focus a bit better, deal with stress a lot more, as well as improving that prefrontal cortex function so you can get into things like the flow states and stuff like that a lot easier. This is all accessible through breathing, a system that you can manipulate manually. So the underlying systems, which are subconscious, can then be influenced as well for more positive outcomes.
150.
This is where I think breath training is more understandable for most people. It's something you've probably been exposed to a little bit more, is the mindset, the mental state of someone if they are using breath training or breathing techniques to improve that particular aspect. That's because breathing helps regulate the nervous system, so helps regulate vagal tone from your vagal nerve, and then your CO2 tolerance improves. You get that less activity in that prefrontal cortex function improves as well.
Everything you did before, the treatment, the trainings, the recovery parts, sleep, the things you eat. In the end, it's the whole total package. You need to be a 24/7 athlete. It's not only 2 hours in the game, it's 24 hours a day, day and night. It's how you sleep, it's how you prepare yourself for next training, it's how you prepare yourself for next game, it's how you recover from the game. All these kind of things, there's so many small details that can make a difference. 2 hours is the product of everything you do in a day and in a week. That's just the end result.
Being a 24/7 athlete is probably true for most people that are at the high level of their sport, because it's small margins. The higher up you get, the more professional you get, the smaller and smaller margins. And you want to make sure that you are, if you can take an inch, you're going to take that inch so that you can achieve a victory by a mile. And that's why being more breath aware, more breath efficient, having breathing programs on top of things that you have, like your nutrition, your sleep, your stress management, how much screen time you have on your phone, on YouTube, all of that stuff, your recovery protocols, all of that stuff is the full-time job of top of the full-time job of being a professional athlete, and going to play a game is a small percentage. You're spending probably more time now in that recovery, trying to recover between games because of the schedule, especially that these athletes have nowadays, is you're spending more time in that recovery zone than you are actually playing a game. And this is why being a 24/7 athlete keeps you at your best. So overlooking aspects like breathing because you think it's automatic, and so automatic is optimal, then because you're missing that piece, underlying things like breathing links to your sleep, breathing links to your decision making, your stress, your movement, your ability to focus, ability to process spatial awareness. These all things are linked to breathing. A lot of it links back to breathing, and so optimizing that breathing has benefits in those other aspects of your training and recovery systems and regimes. And so not overlooking breathing is really important. Obviously, I'm saying that with some certain amount of bias because of what I do in terms of coaching breathing and coaching breathing for athletes, but I do think it's something you're going to start to see more and more feed into training programs in years to come. So I think it's super interesting. I hope you like this video. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, do all that great stuff for the algorithm before you go, and I'll see you in the comment section.